Give me the portion of goods that fall unto me. He divided unto him his livings. And not many days after the younger son gathered all together and journeyed to a far country, and we had spent all, there arose a famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country. He sent him unto his fields to feed swine. And he wore vain and lived and had filled his belly with the husk, and the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. And when he came to himself, how many hired servants of my father have bread enough to share, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and I am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me one of the hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he yet got a great way off, his father saw him. And he had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said to the father, I have sinned against heaven in thy sight, and no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said unto the servant, Bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet, and bring hither the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For my son was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. A family reunion. A family reunion. Let me begin off by saying Christ is illustrated to his people of sinful nature, how we wander away from God by our acts, how we think, how God, through his love and compassion, seeks to save us from our sins, as well as from our ungodly attitudes, our ways of not repenting, our ways of not coming to him. He also illustrated the difference between God's concern and the attitude of the murmuring religious people over the salvation of lost souls. During these times, the Jewish family, their household always take care of the kids. The kids live off of their family inheritance during the lifetime of the father, while the father is yet alive and still in control of things. But upon his death, his estate should be divided with his children. Being that the oldest son get 2/3 of what his father has left behind. The youngest, abundantly elder child, that other third is split among how many children it might be. But when there's two sons, the eldest son still gets that 1/3, that 2/3. and that youngest son get the 1/3. So you know he already knew approximately what his inheritance was going to be. Saying that, this gives us an implication of the youngest son's quest. But one thing about asking your father for your inheritance and he's still yet alive, it shows disrespect to the father. To me personally, it's saying, I wish you was already dead so I could get what I want. Neither the Jews nor the Romans during this time give that permission within their law for this to be done. But yet, the father complied with the son and he divided his estate between the two sons. The youngest son ended up getting what he wanted. I don't have to live in this house. I don't have to follow your rules. I'm tired of staying here. Some of our kids today. I'm tired of telling you what to do. Every time I look around, go do this, go do that, clean your room, go in there and wash the dishes. I'm tired. I'd be so glad when I get grown and get out of this house. That's basically what this young son is telling his dad. I'm tired of being here. I need to get out and live my life. Do what I want to do. So the dad said, okay, I'm going to give it to you. Go on out there. Do what you're going to do. Hear your stuff. Go live what you want, how you want to live. But he don't stay around where daddy can see what he's doing. He goes off into a far country. Some of our kids the same way. They don't stay around where you can see what they're doing. Don't ask them to put you on 360 so you can see what it is. You know what? I don't want you to be in my business, but that's what he was saying. So after the son get off into the far country, he started living this righteous life, high voluptuous life, this elegant life. I said I can imagine seeing him going by his penthouse and bringing all his friends over every day and this man, let's get the best wine and let's get the best steak, let's have us a party every day. Remember this one thing, man. You got it. They know you got it. You have all the friends in this room. You have some of your family members the same way, your friends. All right, don't forget that. They might be out in that far country too. But the thing about it, he lived so that he didn't think about he had tomorrow. He lived so that he didn't put anything aside. Some of us like that right now. We have nothing. If a storm came right now, we have nothing to fall back on. So that's basically what he is going into. He's getting ready to walk into this family. His land is beginning to grow up a family. He broke down. He done lost everything. He done lost his house, car, clothes, his dignity, everything. He had lost because he wanted to live a life outside of his father's instructions. But when that family hit, none of those so-called friends was there. Let your lights get cut off. Them friends you help. Don't have to be found. Let something go wrong. Those so-called friends turn their back on you. They get out in the street and talk about you. Lie on you, and you be looking like, well, where did that come from? But this young man did all he wanted to do out on the streets. Down to his lowest. Anytime you have to go feed the hogs for somebody else. And they really, you're not getting paid to do this. He's not getting paid. Understand that now. He's not getting paid to do this. But yet he's out there wallowing in the filth. And sometimes we wonder why the homeless are the way they are. But he has to eat with hogs. He had to wallow in his sin. He had to sleep there. When your mom, like your mom used to say, when you make that bed hard, you have to sleep in it. He's sleeping in that hard bed right now. But in the midst of it all, that stomach pain from hunger is beginning to set in. The humiliation is beginning to set in. He's looking around, where are these so-called friends? I have nothing to eat. I'm just down into my lowest. I can't go more lower than where I am. But in this society, when you was that low, the society didn't even want you to worship their God. Not our God now, because you can worship him wherever you are, but their God. They didn't want him to be around when they came together on Sundays. And that's the same way we are right now as we kick around the homeless peoples in the streets now. Some of us won't invite them. I'm part of that. Won't even invite them to church. We'll give $1 or $2 for them to go whatever. But we won't bring them into the church house with us. But in those days, those people that tended to the swines was treated like the lepers, as if they had leprosy. Jesus was using this to show us how despaired this young man was, to what depth of misery his rides and living had brought him. This also gives us an illustration of how our sins can take us into misery and doing the wrong thing and walking away from God and living in the sin that we lived in. But in the process of living, the way the young man was living, and in the process of the way we live sometimes, we have to come into realization that we can't stay in this condition. So here this young man is beginning to get to a turning point. He began to understand where I am, I shouldn't be here.